Now here's the last thing I think I've got to look at today. We have got the character preview of Evernight. Let's go. So we're going to see probably more detailed information about what her kit actually does, and we're going to see potentially character details that we have yet to access. So we've got details about her being a DPS who summons a memo sprite and increases the damage of all of the memo sprites. I was correct about her being a remembrance tailored, like a mono remembrance team sort of character. I called that. I also called her being tied to HP because literally it was implied in her own boons within Divergent Universe. Unique character traits. Her having Memoria is super fun. Something that she was talented at using in Penacony to create things within the dream. Something that ties significantly into Remembrance as a path, and something that Memo Keepers definitely interact with. I think it was a very good decision to integrate into her kit of all characters. Darkest Riddle. It's interesting to see just how specific this girl can get with power. The darkening, the red colour scheme that almost seems like the antithesis to what Remembrance's colour scheme would be. Though she's not the first character who's on the path of, who is technically canonically connected to the Remembrance, who has had dark imagery connected to their kit. Black Swan, even though gameplay-wise she is on the path of nihility, canonically she is tied to Remembrance, and her whole animation, those arms coming out of the stained glass, it's a weird thing. It feels like the Remembrance, to be on the path of Remembrance, most of the people tied to it have gone through some kind of misfortune. Or at least, that's the impression I've got so far. We don't know much about Rekka's history, but Black Swan, the reason she ended up on this path is she didn't want to forget her mum, who was forgetting everything, while Evernight, in her voice line on the version 3.6 preview, she mentions that her history is dark. Character info, okay. In the memory zone secluded from the world, candlelight reflects the past, silently extinguishing in the mist. Evernight, child of remembrance, emerging from those shadows, the Chrysosaur who conceals the core flame of time, raises the wave of oblivion to protect the wishes of those in the mirror. Don't worry, I will protect the path of the Trailblazers for you at any cost. Also, Oblivion being mentioned in quotation marks here makes me think that that is the infinity symbol and the connection to the final quote-unquote titan that exists in Amphorius. It has to be Oblivion. Affiliated city, beyond the sky, of course, divine authority, a question mark on Vil of Evernight, Oronix still. Experience! Okay, let's go. March arrived at Amphorius' temporal coordinates long before you all did. She has already gone out like a candle, but I am that candle's lingering shadow, hidden in the folds of time awaiting your arrival. Ha! The Rosy Celestial Maiden, let's go! Have you heard the legend of the Rosy Celestial Maiden? I'm quite pleased. Who wouldn't love the Rosy Celestial Maiden? Exactly. There's no way that it's about her, about March 7th specifically, because she was known about in previous cycles, so there's no way that it's not technically about quote-unquote Evernight, March in the past. Hobbies, umbrella, okay. Why do I always carry an umbrella? Because good memories are like endless falling rain, falling on umbrellas only to slide off without a trace. Of course, posing with an umbrella also looks good in photos. Fair enough, girl. She retains her... she retains her ego. Let's go. When you gaze into the past gazes back at you. Her idol. Ooh, Black Rain. And she's using a... Okay. Gesturing to not mention a thing. Interesting. Fair enough. Another idol. Okay, that's the one that appeared in the special program. It's her looking at her eidolons as March 7th, which is very fun that she can just casually do that. And she's almost mimicking the gestures in it, which is quite funny. Basic attack, okay, based on max HP, makes sense. Consumes a certain percentage of her HP to summon a memo sprite and increases the crit damage of all memo sprites. Let's go. It decreases by 1 at the start of each of her turns. So you actually want her to be slow based on that, because then you can maintain the crit damage bonus, because it's not based on your allies' turns, it's based on Evernight's turn. That's fun. If Eevee is already on the field, it restores a certain percentage of its max HP, makes sense. When used, gain several Memoria. If in the darkest riddle state, gain additional Memoria. Makes sense. So, relay trace there. Ultimate. Oh, wakeful world, good night. Okay. Summons Eevee and then deals ice damage to all enemies based on its max HP and causes her to enter that state. During this state, the damage taken by all enemies increases. Doesn't say by a number, so we'll see that when the kit actually comes out, I guess. Evernight and Memo Sprite Eevee deal increased damage and are immune to crowd control debuffs. Fair. Gains several Darkest Night riddle charges. Memo Sprite Eevee consumes 1 charge after using Dream Dissolver's Dew. So that's, I'm gonna assume, its own attack on its turn, which is fair. At the start of Evernight's turn, if no charges remain, exit the state. Okay. Remembrance whirling like rain. Interesting. Automatically selects a target, prioritizing the one that Evernight last attacked. Okay, so you can make Eevee target specific things, which is good. And deals damage based on Evernight's max HP, so not its own. Fine. For every certain amount of Memoria Evernight currently has, deals additional ice damage by a certain percentage and gains Memoria after use. Okay. While Evernight is in Darkest Riddle state, the appearance of Evernight changes. Fair. Wouldn't it be the appearance of Eevee which turns red? Because Evernight glowed, but she didn't change as much as Eevee clearly has. Memo Sprite skill, this is the Dream Dissolving as Dew. So, it's definitely on Eevee's turn. It's Eevee's attack. Okay, so the other attack is its basic almost. This is its actual main attack. When Evernight's Memoria is greater than or equal to a certain amount, and Evernight is not under a crowd control state, this ability can be used. Deals ice damage to the primary target based on the Memoria points and Evernight's max HP. Deals a certain proportion of ice damage to other targets. Nice. After use, consume all Memoria and HP and Eevee disappears. Okay, fair. Talent, with me this night. When entering combat, summon Eevee. Memo Sprite Eevee has base speed by default, and its max HP is a percentage of Evernight's max HP. Each time Evernight or Memo Sprite Eevee loses HP, increases crit damage for both this unit and Memo Sprite Eevee for several turns and gains Memoria. This effect can be triggered only once per attack. Once per target per attack. Okay, even more restrictive. When Evernight has a certain amount of Memoria, dispels and becomes immune to all crowd control debuffs. If Memo Sprite Eevee is on the field, it immediately takes action. The immediate action effect can only trigger after Memo Sprite Eevee uses Dreams Dissolver's Dew, which is its skill. Her talent, Eevee is immune to crowd control debuffs, but has an increased chance of being targeted, so you're preventing anyone else getting hit, which is nice. When summoned, this unit immediately takes action. Let's go. Upon disappearing, increases her speed, Evernight's speed. If disappearance is due to using Dreams Dissolver's Dew, additionally increases Evernight's speed. Based on the amount of Memoria produced, the speed effect cannot be stacked. This effect is removed at the start of Evernight's next turn. So do you want her to just be base speed? Do you not even want her to have additional speed? Because it feels that way. Technique. Let it rain cold on thee. After using technique at the start of the next battle, gains an effect identical to the skill, which increases all allies' memosprite crit damage and gains memoria. Valid. Dark the night, still the moon. Increases Evernight and the memosprite Eevee's crit rate. When using abilities, consume a portion of this unit's current HP to increase both their crit damage for several turns. After memosprite Eevee uses Dreams Dissolve as due, recovers a skill point for all allies. That's not broken at all. She's completely SP neutral. She doesn't use SP on her own stuff, and if anything can recover it for your allies. That's kind of crazy. She's SP positive massively. Without even, like, having to risk her own DPS. That's kind of mad. I like that. Rouse the flame, lull the light. At the start of combat, Evernight regenerates energy and gains memoria. When Evernight or an ally memosprite uses an ability, Evernight regenerates energy and gains memoria. She gets energy from any memosprite just using attacks. Yeah, Mono Remembrance is right. Jesus, oh god, the last one. I've just started reading it. When there are 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more Remembrance characters in a team, while Evernight's skill persists, additionally increases all memosprites' crit damage by different percentages. Let's go, Mono Remembrance comp! Let's commit some murders. Yeah, this Ascension material was kind of obvious. It's the most recent ice material, like, come on. This makes sense as well, since it's the most recent weekly boss we've gotten. Bija of Consciousness. It had to be those mats because they're the only Remembrance mats. So yeah, no, all in. Now let's see this. Her Lightcone. Sleepless. So Evernight Stars is the name of it, and that is so pretty. She's surrounded by red thread, which is very symbolic. Since red thread in Japanese, like... in Japan, it symbolizes destiny and fate. So the idea of her being surrounded by it makes a bit too much sense. But no. Increases wearer's max HP by 30%. When wearer's memosprite uses an ability, the wearer gains Noctis. While the wearer has Noctis, all allies' memosprites ignore 20% of a target's defense while dealing damage. Increases the damage of the wearer and their memosprite by 30%. When the wearer's memosprite disappears, recover 8 energy. That's absolutely busted. Wow, yeah, so her Lightcone's absolutely bonkers. Lovely, love that. Ooh, they have the story. Ooh. In the crevice of time, only her heartbeat echoes. Like many nights before, watching the darkness and resting in dormancy, she treasures the memories entrusted to her. The girl sets forth from a blank starting point, painting each stop she lingers at with vibrant colours. A cozy express, companions each with their unique personalities, dazzling and magnificent planets like a dream too beautiful to leave behind. My real journey starts now. The girl's declaration seems to whisper right beside her ear. She gazes towards the distant starry sky as a beam of light approaches. It's the Express's headlight, like a shooting star. Good night, March. When you awaken, continue your trailblaze journey. As the Memoria tides surge, she buries her wish deep in her heart. Those tiny whispers and that light she has never forgotten. Yeah, she purposefully set herself up to be found by the Express. And purposefully forgot. What I want to know is why. Okay, the maps make sense. Let's go. Nice. Very nice. That Lightcone story is so good. And then, eventually, there's gonna be her profile stuff. The question is, do I dare read it before I experience the story once I get her home? Or, realistically, because I'm concerned about spoilers, I should probably hold on until after I complete the main story of the version and then look through her stuff. Like, they've made a point to pick out specific stuff to reveal to us. There's gotta be spoilery voice lines and stuff that exist on her profile. There just has to be. Whether it reveals her past or about the current story is the question. I'm expecting it to be about her past. Or I'm hoping. But no, I'm all in. This is cool stuff. I'll look forward to the Dan Heng stuff too, but this girl is kinda nuts. I called a lot of her kit. No way I could predicted this Lightcone being this bullshit though. This Lightcone's absolutely incredible. It's kinda crazy. Also, the amount of HP she gets from it, Jesus Christ, girl. She's got some endurance. And I'm all for it. I'm gonna be building this girl to the best of my ability. Annoyingly, I don't know what... She's a weird one. I don't know what would be better for her because she's focusing on a mono remembrance team, so I'd think Arcadia's her best. But she clearly benefits from having as much HP as possible, unless there's a max threshold it has. The bloody... God, what's its name? Why is it escaping me? The bloody Stixia. The Stixia planar ornament set might actually be her second best option, or maybe even her best, depending on what stats she needs more. Because Arcadia benefits you for having either 4 memosprites out, or for reducing your team count. Meanwhile, Stixia is just for having a certain amount of HP on the character. It gives you crit damage. And this girl clearly buffs her allies with crit damage. So it depends on how the numbers work on a kit, on which one I think would be better for damage output. And it depends on what role you want her to fulfill. She's SP positive, which is still insane. Because the way that her SP consumption doesn't technically seem to exist. Instead, she drains her own HP off. Which is nuts, and I rate it. Just damn. Damn, that's nice, because Remembrance characters really want to use their skills seemingly as much as possible because it benefits their memo sprites and it helps with their energy gain. So, aside from obviously Casterus, but even using her skill is probably the best case scenario because it causes the most HP related changes. So, anyone that technically wants Remembrance on their team, you kind of need skill points to be available. So the fact that they have an SP positive character that just doesn't use SP at all is gonna make it a lot easier for you to progress and increase and enhance your own team's damage within your turns. You'll never miss using skills on your characters, seemingly, because you have one character that's just completely SP positive, not even SP neutral. Nuts character. Makes it so you deal more damage, shreds their defense. Like, come on, this girl's busted. The question is, I want to see eventual numbers, but I also don't want to give the bloody test server reactions the time of day. I'd rather just wait until I get her home and then just test her out. I'm interested to see what the new relics do, because I think that one of them might be for her. Currently, there is no relics in the game that really seem like they'd work with this girl, because the set that Casterus uses doesn't work for her at all. I don't know if she even wants low speed, because her kit actually gives her speed to move faster based on the amount of memoria she possesses. So she cares about speed, but she doesn't need the stat building, which is really weird. She's got to be the first character to do this, surely. Because Casterus wants as little speed as possible, but that's because of the way that her dragon works. You want her turns to come around less. Meanwhile, March doesn't have that issue, despite she blows up her memo sprite as well, seemingly. I'm very intrigued by this. It's neat. So yeah, no, best of luck to people pulling for her. I enjoyed this.